mix this all together with my hands. That's why I like to wear the gloves. And I'm sure if you were eating here, you'd appreciate that I'm wearing the gloves as well. I almost forgot one thing. Woo! That's a nice meatball. Some old people might remember. That's a spicier meatball. It's not so spicy. Welcome, it's Martin Salama, the architect of the Warriors Life Code, back here in the kitchen again, cooking with Martin. And today we're going to make the other part of what I did last week, which is the marinara sauce. I'm going to make the meatballs. You can make them put them in the sauce later if you want, or you can do other things with it. I'm going to do that towards the end. You'll see after I make them, I put all the ingredients together and shape them and cook them for a little while. I'm then going to stick them into the pot with the marinara sauce. Actually, I'm going to take some of the marinara sauce out and put it into another pot for a couple of reasons. I'll explain that later. And we're going to go deeper into the L.I.F.E method, the L.I.F mood lifter method, to stay positive no matter what's going on around you, or to stay positive no matter what's pissing you off in the world, in life, and whatever. And if you adopt these things, and like I said, I'm going to go deeper into it. If you adopt them into your life as part of your daily routine, daily things, when things come up that are not that great, this will help you to get through them that much better. So I'm going to get started, and I'm going to use gloves because I'm going to be putting my hands right into the meat over there. All right, and I've done a little prepping, which, as you know, I like to do. I have a pound of, let me get this on. I've got a pound of chopped meat, 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley chopped, 3 tablespoons of fresh basil chopped. Again, I washed them to get all the sand off of them, which is something you should do. A teaspoon of kosher salt, a half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, a quarter teaspoon of dried oregano, 2 cloves of garlic minced, a quarter cup of breadcrumbs, and 1 egg beaten. And then later I'm going to use some olive oil when I'm going to slightly saute the meatballs before I put them in the oven, which is something that I do, and people love the way I do that. So I'm going to do all that. And there's one other ingredient in here, and hopefully I'm going to get the spices, the recipe for this. But a few years ago I was in Williams-Sonoma, and I saw this 3-pack of little bottles of spices from Giada De Laurentiis. She's fantastic. So one of them was a meatball spice, and I bought it and I loved it, and I went a few months later, and they were on sale because they were closing them out, discontinuing them. So I bought a couple more, and I've been using it, and I'm almost done with it. So I've reached out to Giada's people and asked them, is it available? If so, I'd like to offer it to people out there so that they can buy it. And if it's not, can you give me the recipe so I can put it? It's only 2 teaspoons, so we're not going to go crazy about it. And if not, I'll figure it out at the bottom. I already know it's got a little bit of red pepper flakes in it, and a little bit of, it looks like it might be some other of the spices that I've used in there, so it's a little more of those, like the basil, dried basil, and dried oregano, dried parsley, or whatever. But anyway, we'll figure that out as we go along. So here I am. I've got a pound of chopped meat, ground chopped meat, so I'm putting that in there. And then I have all the other ingredients that I talked about, the parsley, the basil, salt, pepper, and then here's the garlic, the chopped garlic. All right, I'll get my little scraping tool again, scraping spoon, rubber scraping spoon, and put that all in here. And now you'll see, as soon as I'm finished with this part, there we go, okay, as much as I could. I love this chopper. It's an OXO chopper, vegetable chopper. I use it exclusively for when I'm chopping garlic, and I really enjoy using it. And then there's also 1 egg beaten, so I beat it before I put it in there. Now I'm going to stick it in here. All right, and to make sure I get all of the egg out there, I'll use another scraper to get all the egg out there. There's more than you'd think being on the bottom over there. Okay, so we got all that in there. And now, here's where the gloves really come in handy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little closer. Let's see. We'll do it over here. I'm going to mix this all together with my hands. That's why I like to wear the gloves. And I'm sure if you were eating here, you'd appreciate that I'm wearing the gloves as well. So we're going to get this all mixed up together. Nice and feeling good. Nice and mixed up together. There's a lot of spices. Oh, I almost forgot one thing. Woo! I knew there was something missing. Here it is. Got the breadcrumbs. A quarter cup of breadcrumbs. No harm. There we go. You come back here. Okay. The breadcrumbs is great. It gives it a little air in it. I don't love to use them because I like to go low carb, but these are really good. So once in a while, you gotta treat yourself. Not cheat. Treat yourself. So yeah, that's it's all in there now. Didn't forget anything else, right? No, nothing else. It was when I picked up the cutting board, the green cutting board that had all the spices on it, all the spices and the parsley and the basil. I covered it by accident. I covered the breadcrumbs. So you see now, it's all mixed together well. Make one gigantic meatball ball like that, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to start to make them into little meatballs. And what I'm going to do then, I'm going to start talking and going deeper into the L.I.F.E method, L.I.F E mood lifter method. So I use a tablespoon, but I go a little over the amount of the tablespoon. So you see like that, and then what I do is I just roll it up. Roll it up like that. There you go. And that's a meatball. That's a nice meatball. Some old people might remember. That's a spicier meatball. It's not so spicy. But anyway, so let me start talking about the mood lifter method and go deeper. So the first one is live responsibly. So for many years, I would complain and not take responsibility for the things that are going on in my life until it got to the point when I was getting divorced. And I went through life coaching school, and I recognized that I wasn't doing that. And I was blaming the world for my lot in life, not taking responsibility, not willing to do what was necessary for me to be happy, because I was too busy worrying about everybody else being happy. And as a result of that, I had some responsibilities, but they weren't the right type of responsibilities. And they were the kinds of me trying to prove myself to others, me trying to get that recognition that I wanted in my life. I always needed that recognition. And I guess that came from when I was young. Let me close this cabinet. This doesn't have to be open. I guess that came from when I was young, and I lost my son, my brother. And as the other son in the family, I was looking for validation. And I came from an old school parents. You know, they didn't tell you things like I was proud of you, I'm proud of you, and stuff like that. So, and I didn't understand what it really meant to take responsibility. So you want things in your life, don't expect them to be handed to you. Don't think you're entitled to anything. And I think I had that mindset. And I didn't realize it until much later that I was like that. And I don't think I was overtly in that entitled mindset, but enough that I could turn around and look and realize that where I was in my life was nobody else's responsibility, nobody else's fault but my own. So that's number one. Number two is inspire yourself. And really what I'm talking about that is, it's an extension of the first one, where we talk about live responsibly, is not blaming anybody else for what's going on. Not saying, oh my God, look at the world, look what's going on, look what happens to me. Why is this happening to me? The world is a terrible place and everything's terrible coming to me. And I could obviously take the moments of when I lost all my money in 2008 and say, I don't understand, how did I get caught up in this? I did everything right. I followed all the rules. I did everything I could. And it still happened. It's not fair. But you know what? Life is not fair. But it's about you recognizing that it's okay for you to see that you can make things out of your life by not complaining, by not looking to put it off on somebody else, by not worrying. Worrying doesn't do anything for you. Worrying, I say, is very negative. I've talked about it in a different video. You go back. There's a difference between worrying and concern. And so that's number two. Number three, feel gratitude. Don't look around and say, well, well, of course this happens. I deserve it. We don't deserve anything in this world. We deserve happiness. And how do we get that happiness? By doing the work to get the happiness. So that's an important part of it. It's don't think that just because you're here that you deserve happiness. You do, but you got to do the work first. And that starts by being grateful for the things that are going on around you, even the tiniest little things. And it's interesting. I had a conversation yesterday. I was on a podcast that I was interviewed on that I think is coming out in a few months. I'm not sure. She hasn't told me exactly when it was. And she said, "Tell me something that you want to leave the audience with." It was something that the podcast was about seeking sunshine. It'd be good things. So I said, okay, this is what I want everybody to do. The last thing is go out there and tell somebody something funny so that they'll laugh. Make somebody laugh today. And then thank them for helping you to fulfill your quota to make somebody laugh every day. And she said to me, you know what? That's really interesting. It's unbelievable. Because not only are you taking it and saying, make somebody laugh and make their day, you're taking it to the next level and you're saying thank you to them. And now it takes it to a deeper level because now they are personally involved in it and it's going to last with them for a little longer. I said, you know what? You're 100% right. So now that's something that's part of my thing. My gratitude is every morning wake up and be grateful for the things that are going on around me and recognize things that I should be grateful for. And the things that are not doing well, figure out why and change them so that they could be, take a course correction. They can be working so that you can do what you need to do. So that's number 3. And number four is embrace all these things that we're talking about and go deeper with them so that you, and what I mean by go deeper is recognize that it's not a one-off. It's not a coincidence. For example, all of a sudden something happens, you get money that you weren't expecting. Oh, that's a coincidence. No, there was more to it than that. Trying to make them all about the same size. The last two might be a little smaller. Maybe. What we could do is add a little bit to this one. Make that one a little bigger. A couple here that are on the smaller side. And make that one a little bigger. See? Course corrections as we go around. Okay, things are changing. And then we got this last one, which will be still a little tiny, but it'll be fine. So now I've gotten all of the meatballs made. All right, show you what they look like. Here they are. They look great. So I'm going to go a little deeper into the embrace. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get the oil going. Not too much oil in there. And then I'm going to bake them for a little bit as well. So I'll be back in a few minutes and we'll get this conversation going. Okay, so I'm back now, and the oil is a little over 325 right now. I'm going to take the meatballs and put them in here as we continue going over the L.I.F.E mood lifter method. It's almost like a little bit of a tongue tie for me. What do they call it? Tongue twister. So I'm going to put gloves back on because I'm going to put them back into. I'm going to pick them up and put them into the oil, and then we're going to get into E, which is embrace. And I'm going to talk about some of the things you can do to embrace. So these, we're just going to let them brown a little bit on each side, so it'll take a few minutes to do this. So I put it on medium to medium high, the oil, let it get up to 350. And just so you know, for those that are curious, I ended up making about 22 meatballs in here. That's pretty good, 22 meatballs out of a pound. It was a drop over a pound when I bought it from the butcher. And so now the E. The E is embrace it all. And how do you do that? Find activities that you can do every once in a while to clear your head, for stream of consciousness. Go to the park, hang out in the park, and just listen. Sit on the bench, listen to the sounds going around, the birds, the kids playing and all that, and just don't do anything. Just hang out. Could be that you want to cook without having to think about anything else. Could be you want to take a drive on the roads and put some music on that really means something to you and do that. Or go to a historical site and walk around and embrace and say thank you for where we are in our lives now. And these were some of the things that affected us to get there. So that's another one. And I do that. I do that very often. For me, it's cooking. And now I've even incorporated cooking with everything that I'm doing in my coaching. So it's the both together at the same time. So these I'm going to now just flip them over. No, not yet. Another minute or so. So let's go over them. L, live responsibly. Take responsibility for all the things that are going on in your life. Live responsibly. I, inspire yourself to not complain, not worry, not blame, and go from being a worrier to a warrior. Stop worrying about everything. F, feel gratitude. Say thank you. Go out there and make somebody laugh and thank them for letting you make them laugh. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. And then embrace. E, embrace. Be, go out there and do things that just allows you to just enjoy. So now I'm flipping them all. And then after I finish flipping them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick them in the oven for about 10-15 minutes, something like that, and let them cook a little bit more that way. And then after that, I'm going to put them into another pot with the sauce, and then we'll just finish up in this in a minute. As soon as I finish flipping them over, as they're all cooking. Okay. Now, if you're somebody who wants to be worried about the fat content, don't fry them. Don't saute them. That's on you. That's for you. This is the way I like to make them. This is my way. Your ways could be better. I'd love to hear about it. Okay, so now they're all flipped. And what am I looking for? So I'm going to put them in 5 to 7 minutes in here. Put it in here. I had to look at my recipe again. 5 to 7 minutes. Let's set the timer here for 6 minutes. Go. All right, so I'm going to come back in a few minutes and show you how I'm going to incorporate everything into the sauce and all that. I'm going to talk about why I switched the pots as well. So we'll see in a couple of minutes. Okay, so the meatballs have been in the oven for about 6 or 7 minutes. I'm going to take them out now. And that looks good. Got to use the look at that. Nice. Okay, and now I'm going to transfer them into the sauce. And I mentioned I switched pots. I originally thought I wasn't going to use it all, but I ended up using all the sauce. But the main reason I switched the pots is because the first pot I used was a dairy pot. And for anybody who follows Orthodox Judaism, you know that we don't mix meat and milk. So for example, I've never had a true cheeseburger. I've either had fake meat with real cheese or fake cheese with real meat, because you're not allowed in the Jewish religion to mix meat and dairy. So, and that even goes for the pots. So we have separate pots for meat and dairy, and we have separate plates, separate silverware for meat and dairy. So I had to switch it out of that pot that I should have realized when I first started. So it was okay that I used that pot first because there was nothing dairy in it or nothing meat in it. It was parv. Parv means not meat, not dairy. I've mentioned that before. So now I've taken it all and put them in here. And this is going to be so good for dinner tonight. I know Ralph's looking forward to it. So you can't even see it in here. But yeah, it looks great. So that's the recipe. There it is. And so just to go over again, the Life Mood Lifter method to stay positive no matter what's going on around you. Stay positive no matter what's pissing you off. Live responsible. Inspire yourself. Feel gratitude. And embrace all those things that are going on. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you. Don't forget to go to connectwithmartin.com. You can get the cards there. You can find out about my book. You can find out about coaching with me. There's some free gifts there. I hope you've enjoyed this today. I have, and I'm excited for this for dinner tonight. So once again, thank you so much. And remember, enjoy life and live incredibly full every day.